Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Bio Touch Healing Health Condition Workshop. This month we're going to talk about body image. My name is Paul.
Good evening. This is Bev.
That's right. And we have a special guest with us today,
We
Fran
do.
Garton. Yep. Hello,
Hello.
Fran. Welcome to.
Hi.
So, as happens, we're just going to give you the show to begin with. Anybody have any questions? You can post them on whether you're YouTube or Facebook. And if you want to download the workbook that we're going to share at the second part of this workshop, you can download it at justtouch.com/workbook. Take it away, Fran.
Hello. Well, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. When I talk about things, the body, mindset, pain, things kind of get intermixed together. And it seems as I reflect on my journey, I've been through a lot of things. And so I think it's important to have a little bit of context of who I am and what I do. So I am a pain reduction coach. I am a body positive personal trainer, and I am an author and a speaker, and I'm a fibromyalgia warrior. I've had fibromyalgia. I was diagnosed about 11 years ago, and I live pain free. And so that's what I teach people to do. So I don't take medication. When I first was diagnosed, I did. But now I don't. I manage it through movement and food and mindset. And that's what I do. And so I like to teach people about that. And so I'm going to take you back because I think it's important to know sort of where I came from and tell you a little bit about that. So I would say about 12 years ago, I was working as an adult educator with the school board, and I was in the classroom. And as it is with many fields, healthcare is one, education is another one, frontline workers sometimes is another one. You get rules, you get curriculum, you get things told that you have to do, but you don't really have the capacity to do them because it's more than you can manage. And so what ended up happening was, as all these changes were coming down, the teachers had to implement them, and it was creating more and more stress. And so what happened was my body reacted to that stress. And so I started getting migraines. I started having, vision issues. I was nauseous all the time. And as many of us do, unfortunately, I just kind of went, yeah, it's fine. It'll be okay. It's not a big deal. And my pain levels started to go up in my body. And I didn't have a fibro diagnosis. I didn't know what was going on. And then one day I went into my classroom, and all of this had been happening to my body for probably about 6 to 8 months and on a daily basis. And my pain was about a 15 out of 10 on a daily basis. Yeah, and I'm not exaggerating. It was really that bad. I would get up, go to work, come home, go to bed. Like, that's all I did. And I came into my classroom one morning, turned on the lights, and I couldn't see. My vision had disappeared, and I, of course, panicked and, just kind of stood there for a little bit, waited for 20, 30 seconds, and then the vision came back in one of my eyes. The other eye, it did not. And I immediately left work. The result was I ended up in bed for 4 months with a migraine and with vision loss. And it was a constant migraine. It never went away. And I basically stayed in bed for 4 entire months. Like, I lost those months of my life. And I don't remember any of that time period. Like, it's like this blackness. All I remember is little pieces where I would go to a doctor's appointment, or I would bum myself down the stairs to get my medication that really didn't do anything, and then crawl myself back up to bed. And that's what I did for 4 months. And then finally, the vision returned, and I really started thinking about what I was going to do to make some changes in my life. And so eventually, not right away, let's be clear, we never do it right away. We wait for something significant to happen before we kind of say, okay, let's change something. So for the next couple of years, I was just kind of trying to minimize the pain. and trying to minimize the vision issues and all of that. And then I got my diagnosis with fibromyalgia. And what happened was I used to play roller derby. And I remember this day so vividly. I was skating around the track with my teammates and I fell to the ground because I could not hold myself up because the pain in my feet was so bad. And I remember hearing my teammates jumping over me so they didn't crash into me because I couldn't get off the ground. I couldn't drag myself off the ground. It was like devastating. I can't even explain the emotion that was attached to that. And it was at that time that I was like, okay, I really need to do something about this. Got the fibro diagnosis. And as we all do, we take meds. The doctors prescribe medication, and you're so overwhelmed and desperate. That's how I felt, desperate and hopeless, that I just did what they told me. And I just took the medication. And it worked, kind of. So I went from, 15 out of 10 to an 8. Some days were good and I was a 6. So for me, that's an amazing change in levels of pain and having to deal with that, but it wasn't fixing the problem. And so then I started diving into a little bit more about what's going on with my mindset, what's going on with my emotions, where does pain come from? And, I know when the stuff that you do with BioTouch, like you're addressing these kinds of things. And part of it is the physical component, but a big part of it is the mental capacity. It is the mental piece. It's the mindset piece. And when I talk about pain, I've had people say to me, well, so you're saying pain isn't real. No, I'm not saying pain isn't real, but what I want you to think about is your body doesn't understand pain by itself. The brain tells you you have pain. So think about it in the sense of your brain is a database. And in that database, we have memories, we have experiences. And so when I do something, so let's say I bang my hand, that signal, the pain receptors in my hand, sends it all the way up the spinal column into the brain. And the brain, the card catalog goes, do we know what this is? Have we experienced something like this before? Oh yeah, remember like 3 years ago, Fran banged her hand and she got that bruise and it was hot and red and it hurt and she cried. Do you remember that? And the brain goes, oh yeah, is it like that? Yeah, it's like that. Okay, do that. And then it sends a signal back and you go, oh, that really hurt. Because that's what happens with pain. We don't know. The body doesn't know it's pain. There are people in the world that have been documented that have 0 pain receptors. They can walk on glass. They can burn themselves. They don't know. Those receptors are not firing. And so when we have that receptor firing and telling us there's pain, is there pain in the body? Sure. It's trauma. When I bang my hand, absolutely, there's trauma to the skin and the cells and all of that. But the pain that I feel, is it real pain? Yes. Is it pain that's created based on memories and experience in my brain? Also, yes. And so when you look at pain from a different perspective, in the sense that I can change my view on pain and how my body responds with my mind, right? And I hear people when I talk to my clients and I talk to others about pain, and they'll say, well, I can't, I just have pain. There's nothing I can do. Well, then I always say to them, do you ever have a day where you are so involved in what you're doing that you forget that you didn't eat breakfast? Like you forget to have lunch and you look at your watch and you go, oh my gosh, like the day is over. Like it just flew by because your brain was focused on something else. You were at an event with friends and family and you were having a really good time, or you were engrossed in an activity, or you were, writing or reading a book. This is my place that I get lost, is when I read a book, hours go by. So your brain is a very powerful machine, and you can actually sit, for example, for hours and read a book, but you can't sit for 5 minutes because you have pain in your back. That's interesting. So when you look at it from that perspective, in how you function in your day-to-day life and things that you do that you would normally have pain, but you don't have any. Well, why is that? Because your brain is focused on something else. So it is possible to change the way that we view pain. Does that make sense? And so the other thing too that I, like to bring to people is this idea of your emotions and the connection that they have to pain. So our body stores emotions. And I'm talking about more the negative emotions, anger, lack of forgiveness, feeling unworthy. We talk tonight's about body image. So how do you view yourself? So when you're looking at yourself and your body in a negative way, then that is stored in your body. Those emotions are stored and they come out as pain. And that's what happens. And so when we start to think about our thought process and the things that we're actually running through our brains, that we could be causing our own pain that we have in our body based on the way that we view ourselves. And when we talk about body image, I think that we have this skewed perception, maybe, that only certain people have that. It's only women, or it's only, women of a certain age, or it's men that, maybe have, aren't in a relationship or have gotten divorced. We have all these preconceived ideas of who has body images or negative body image. And I think that we all do. I really do. I truly believe that. I think it's unfortunate. And, this is why I talk about it, because I think we need to really address that. And where do those things come from? Like, my view of myself comes from the people around me, my family, my friends. It comes from the media. It comes from images I see everywhere. It comes from, like, I'm in the fitness industry, right? And I call myself a personal trainer because people know what that means. But if you were to actually work with me and actually be trained by me, you'd be like, oh, I've never done that before, because I don't do the things that other people do. I just don't. One, because my body, my fibro doesn't really like it. I have certain injuries that I, have caused structural issues in my body, so I can't. But two, it's not fun. And three, why wouldn't I want to move in a way that my body is happy? Right? And the fitness industry, I feel, truly perpetuates a negative body image. Because when you look at all these images everywhere, and social media does it too, like I said to someone yesterday, we don't see everybody's struggles. We only see the highlight reels. That's all you see, right? That's what you see, is the highlights. Whenever everything's sunshine and rainbows. Well, it's not sunshine and rainbows behind the scenes, let me tell you, because there are terrible days, a lot of terrible days, right? But we don't show that. So when we look at somebody, or when we see all these people that are, in the fitness world, you look at them and go, oh my God, I really want to look at them. Do you? Have you talked to someone who looks like that? They don't enjoy their life. They count calories. They restrict everything. Like, if you've actually talked to somebody who is looking this perfect way and has this perfect body, or what you consider perfect and beautiful, talk to them about what they have to do, how they have to damage their body, and not just their body, their mind, their view of themselves and their mindset and their self-esteem, to get outside validation to tell them that they are worthy and they're beautiful and they're enough. And we need to really change that, because I think it's a real disservice to everybody. And what we do in our life, we are teaching our children and our nieces and nephews and our neighbor kids. We are the model that they see. So if we're doing things that affect our mindset and the way that we think about ourselves and talk about ourselves, they're going to copy what we do. So we need to do better for them, right? And it's a really challenging thing to do. But I think, the more that we can shift our mind and change the way that we view things, perspective really does change the way that we can go at making these changes and how we view ourselves and what we think about pain and how we can heal ourselves, because we truly can. And I've done it. It took a long time. I did the biggest piece, if I can give your audience a piece of advice and some suggestions. My big thing, number one, you're going to look at what you eat. Your body is designed to move, okay? And our body is made up of connective tissue. It's called fascia. And our fascia is supposed to, like, my fingers are moving because my fascia is healthy. When it's not, your fascia sticks like Velcro. And then when you move, you get pain. So please, please, for the love of all things holy, stop eating sugar. That's all I ask. If you want to eat gluten, fine. I don't, but fine. If you want to have dairy, okay. If you're going to give up one thing, just sugar. Just give it up. And your body will be so happy. I have run my clients through various programs. I give them a 7-day reset, which you can get on my website. It's free. You can download it. It's got a food log, and it's more. And again, this is where the thing with body image and mindset is very important. The food log is to see how much you're eating, not to measure it, to make sure you're eating what you should be eating, to keep you on track for this 7 days, right? And to really be aware of, well, this is what I'm eating, and what did my body respond? How did that happen? So you can get that, download it from my website for free. And it's a great way to start. And when I start my clients on that 7-day reset, in a matter of days, the inflammation they have in their body reduces. I've had people that have had such bad arthritis and inflammation in their hands, they gave up their sugar for their 7-day reset. And at the end of 7 days, they were like making fists. And before that, they were in claws that they couldn't move. Like they literally couldn't move their fingers. So the inflammation from food is so, so important. And you need to really think about, do you want to be where you are today for the rest of your life? That's it. That is the question. And if your answer is yes, I bless you and I wish you the best of luck. But if your answer is no, just give up some sugar and see how your body reacts to it. And then the second thing I would say, movement. You have to move. You have to move your body. You don't have to do, I do not lift weights. Okay. I don't lift weights. I used to lift weights. I don't now. Every once in a while, I might pick up a kettlebell, but it's not my thing. It's not what I do. I do Qigong. I love Qigong. It has brought my inflammation. I know. I see, yes, the nodding of the head. Some people that are listening, like, yes, yes, yes. I like Qigong more than Tai Chi because Qigong's a little bit more flexible. Tai Chi is a little bit more rigid in the movement. And that's sort of why I prefer Qigong, but it brought my inflammation down and it increased my energy and it helped heal my body. So do some gentle movement that you enjoy. Put on your favorite song and dance around. And then the third thing that I would say, a big piece that helped me from an emotional point of view, is forgiveness. Forgiveness work is important. You must forgive yourself and you must forgive others. And when I say must, you don't have to do anything I tell you to do, but in order to get where you want, and I think you probably have experienced this, both Paul, Beverly, even the people that are listening and rewatching this, when you forgive, you release that trapped emotion because you're holding on to anger and resentment, and that creates pain in your body. So I want you to think about, when we talk about the chakras, this is the heart chakra right here in the chest. When you feel anxious, stressed, angry, you feel that resentment to somebody, this happens. You close off this chakra and it feels like an elephant sitting on your chest and it's tight. When you forgive, this opens. This is the heart chakra. This is the chakra of love and receiving and giving, right? When you can release and forgive, this opens up and then you're ready to receive any kind of healing and whatever that looks like to you. So those are kind of my big 3 things that I would say: food, movement, and forgiveness. And if you can work on those 3 things, and they're not little, like they're hard. And forgiveness is, if you've been through it, you know it. It's hard work, but it's not hard in the sense of you don't have to do it alone. There's people out there to help you. BioTouch can help with emotions and the way that you feel, right? You can hire a coach. You can do a lot of things to, see a counselor, have some therapy. Like all modalities are out there to help you. And I think it's really, really important. that we look at ourselves in a holistic way. And even though I don't take medication, there are times that, yes, I do. I might have a flare, or I might, you know, try and use other methods to help, and they don't. And it's okay. And I think that's sometimes what people sort of see it when I say that I live pain free and I don't take medication. Oh, well, I don't take anything at all. Well, that's not necessarily the case, but I don't depend on it. It's there if I need it. You should have a toolbox. You should have a care team that from all different modalities and all different areas that you can go, oh, okay, well, maybe I need to talk to Bev about some biotouch stuff. Okay, that's part of my arsenal. Now I need to talk to my, my acupuncturist. Maybe I need to do qigong. Like, you should have a list of tools that you can turn to, and then you can just decide which one works in that moment, because it changes from day to day. One day qigong is great for me, and then other days it's just not doing it. So I got to find something else. So having your toolbox is really, really important. And then you can just pick and choose what works, and you'll find your recipe of what works best. Yeah.
What a great message.
Yeah, that's what.
I love that.
Good. I'm glad. I think I said a lot of things in a very short time.
Oh
So I
yeah,
hope.
but
No, it was perfect. It was perfect. One of the things at the end when you were talking about your your care box, I'm like, so much of that is an acceptance of where we are today, what's not going to work for us today, or what I should be doing or not doing today, right? And I think that's so powerful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a client actually, and she has a care station in her house.
Hmm.
And in that section of her house, she has everything: blankets, slippers, cozy sweaters, tea, water, coloring books, oracle cards. She's got her Reiki stuff. She's got her crystals, like, she has everything. And so, and she offers it to people who come to her house. So if, you come, I went over once to visit her, and she's like, you look a little tired. I'm like, I feel a little worn down. She goes, you just go to the care corner. Like, there's things in the station. Go check the station for what you want. I
I
was like,
love it.
she's got treats, she's got snacks, like, she's got everything. And I'm like, I came out like with a blanket wrapped around me, a bottle of water, and an apple. And she's like, is that it? I'm like, I got a book under my arm. She's like, there's a comfy chair. I know, I saw the comfy chair. Can you,
Perfect.
yeah, I'll be back. So it's
That's
just kind
great.
of, yeah, you have to figure out what works for you. And if it doesn't work, and this is the thing that's important, if it doesn't work, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It means that maybe in this moment, it's
Right.
not the right thing that you need. And that's where listening to yourself, the intuitiveness, and having that group of things that you can just go to and decide what you want. And if you listen to your body,
Yeah.
it will tell you what it wants. It,
Yeah.
it, it will, like, when you walk in, it's like a smorgasbord, this buffet of choices. Your body will immediately gravitate to the one that it needs, or the two or three things that you need, and just go for those things. Don't think about it. Let your body choose, because it will choose.
It will.
Well, that's what I like about it. I like that idea of don't create more conflict. You're
Right.
already got here because you have so much, so you got these 3 steps, you say, but don't make them a conflict on top of the conflicts you have. And I really like that message. Listen,
Yeah.
just listen to yourself. I mean, and
Yeah,
you
we
are
say all the time.
inspirational in that. Yes.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you are a beautiful woman. You reverberate that you are doing the work, and I think that's what helps people feel they can do it too. So any of you out there that want to get hold of Fran, frangartoncoaching.com. You'll pass this on to people. You'll get this in an email too. And if you have questions and you can't get hold of her, just contact us. But Fran, we really appreciate you showing up with us. That was an awesome presentation. I'm all tingly.
I know. It was just a wonderful message, very hopeful. Yeah.
Good. Thank you for having me. I hope that it helps at least even one person.
Yes, that's
just
the goal.
Rethink things.
Just
That's all.
one person. I know.
Perfect.
We get
Yes.
that.
All right.
Thank you, Fran,
Thank
so
you, Fran.
much for being with us tonight.
Well, there you go.
Well,
Another
once
great
again,
presentation.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, she really grabbed me. I mean, she was good. She was sincere. That was a very
You
sincere
know,
presentation.
I always say she walks the talk.
Yeah.
I know people in my life who just don't spew things out there. They actually are using in their life what they're trying to help
Right.
others to do, and they've used it in their own lives, and it has worked. And so here we go. It's
Well,
wonderful.
so that leaves us to teach you a few sets of points that fit right along with what Fran was saying, both in dealing with the foods that you eat. We're going to do some metabolism, the stress part of it, working on helping break those cycles of repetition in our brain or that's been passed down for generations or trauma that's locked in the body. How many times have we worked with people and they
Oh,
release a trauma here and all of a sudden that pain they've had for years goes away. So
no.
we're going to teach you some points here. Well, actually, Bev's going to. I'm going to sit in the background here and play the techie. So let's see. We're right here. Take it away, Bev.
The next set is used for addressing most
Hold on.
headaches, neck pains, and soreness of the upper back.
Here it is. There you go. All right.
Ready? Okay, so for those of you who have the workbook, just notice that the very first page will always have the condition that we are presenting for the workshop, and what just gives you an overall sense of what's going on with that condition. So let's begin. This second page is the terms that are used in the manual. We really present this when we're doing our trainings, but for this workshop, we always like to just look at that first and second bullet, the one that says the associate and the recipient. And it's important because BioTouch really develops a relationship of healing between two people. So BioTouch is, one person working with another person. So the associate is the person who is performing BioTouch. And we like to use that word associate. Yes, it's a matter of convenience, but in the dictionary, it is described as the role of one who is inspired to pursue this work as one often in the company of another, which implies intimacy or equality, and two, one having an interest in common with another. And that's what a true relationship is. You're going to find that BioTouch really is an equalizer. So the recipient, the other part of that relationship, is the one who is receiving BioTouch. But there's such a close harmony between the two that in a true relationship, both are giving and both are receiving. And so we want to bring that to your attention. So, Paul, I don't see the page with the bullets on it. Okay, so let's just, before we begin the first set, we usually have a page that has a couple of bullets just to give those of you who are new kind of an overview of what BioTouch, this lovely healing technique, what it really is. And it is a simple, non-invasive, light touch on the skin using the first two fingers of your hands, and you lightly touch like a butterfly. That's basically what we do. The lighter we touch, it seems the body really hears deeper. So let's see, let's go over a couple of things. So that's the basic technique of it. BioTouch is for everyone. Anybody can learn how to do BioTouch. The beauty of it is that the moment that you learn where those points are, you're going to be totally effective. We have had children in our trainings. So, bless their hearts, they get BioTouch. It's innate in them, and it is in every one of us. So all of us are here to have that accessible to us. BioTouch is for all of us to use and to help those in our lives, and anybody. BioTouch is we used to say it's a complementary modality, but we have discovered that is very integrative and holistic. I think that was the last thing that Fran mentioned. You have to look at your body as a holistic unit. BioTouch does that. So no matter what protocol you're on, whether you're under a doctor's care, prescriptions, a special diet, if you're doing other modalities, BioTouch is only going to enhance that experience of healing. So totally integrative with everything. The beauty is you don't have to spend a lot of time learning BioTouch. Again, it's accessible to all of us. It's very easy to learn and to begin to practice. You don't have to go through levels, spend years getting good enough to use it. It's immediate. That's one of the great gifts of BioTouch, and why we say it is inherent in all of us and accessible to all of us. It belongs to us. The last thing I'll mention is the preparation. BioTouch does not require you to prepare a space. You don't have to have a belief system or a philosophy to practice BioTouch. It's just this amazing touch. You reach out, and all you required is that you have compassion for another human being in their suffering, in their pain. And you can help them with BioTouch, whatever it is that is going on, because BioTouch can literally address any manifestation in the body, dis-ease, health issues, whatever. So it's very comprehensive in that. So Paul, did you want to just kind of give them an overall what they're going to expect in?
Yeah, so if you'll notice here, this is what we're going to share here in a minute in the greeting. This is part of our main training manual. And if you'll notice, there's always this purple link down on the bottom. Click here to watch video. So what we're going to show you here is also available to you with the workbook. If you click on that, it'll always take you to the video, which is with the second page of each set. And here's some words. The words here are the same words that are used on the video. So it's very easy after this evening to teach yourself how to do it. And if then at any point you have any questions about it, you can always contact us. So there are basic steps that you have to do before you start. And once you do that, Bev, and then we'll watch something.
Okay, so yes, I was going to mention, so when you're preparing to work with another person with BioTouch, just a few things that are asked. Always wash your hands. The sets of points in each of the conditions, you want to hold those 6 to 8 seconds. And again, you're touching the skin very, very lightly, like a butterfly. And then the really important thing you want to always do is what we're going to show you now, called the greeting. This is the first thing you want to do every time, whatever you're going to be doing before you start to work or address any other area of the body. This is the greeting that sets up the harmony between the associate and the recipient and begins this relationship of two people working together. And so we're going to go ahead. Paul's going to play the video for us, and we're going to see someone doing the greeting.
The greeting is always performed at the beginning of each session. It's the only set that uses one hand and the only set that indicates which hand to use. The greeting is performed with the dominant hand. If you are right-handed, use your right hand. If you are left-handed, use your left hand. The greeting is made by touching at point 1, which is in the fleshy area just below the bottom of the breastbone or sternum. Hold this point for 6 to 8 seconds. Then, with the same 2 fingers, touch point 2 on the back. To find point 2, look for the big bone at the base of the neck. From here, move 1 to 1.5 inches to the left. This is point 2. Hold this point for 6 to 8 seconds. More than one associate may work with a recipient provided that all of the associates perform the greeting. If the associate or the recipient leaves the session, or if someone who hasn't done the greeting touches either the recipient or the associate, the greeting must be reestablished. Then the session may proceed from where it was interrupted.
Pain and discomfort comes from those emotional and mental stresses, anxieties that we put much of the time upon ourselves. So this set is really good at addressing all of those emotional or mental conditions that can contribute to physical manifestations in the body. So let's go ahead and watch that video.
The stress set may be used to address any manifestation of physical, emotional, or mental stress, as well as anxiety and shingles. Hold at X, which is in the fleshy area just below the bottom of the breastbone. It is the same as greeting point 1. Then with the other hand touch points 1 and 2, which are the same points as in the heart set. These points are found by imagining a line running from the notch at the top of the breastbone to a place on the left breast where the nipple would be on a youth. Divide this imaginary line into thirds. Point 1 is at the top of the first third. Point 2 is at the top of the second third. These points may be touched repeatedly, and remember to touch each point for at least 6 to 8 seconds.
Okay. The third set we're going to show you is the head set, and this is a really amazing set for so many different conditions, most of them that are related to the brain, but this is also about depression, insomnia, and of course some of the pain that she was expressing earlier in her talk. So this is a good set to use for so many things when we are dealing with again, pain or depression, insomnia, any of those kinds of things. So let's go ahead and watch that video.
The headset can be used to address conditions related to the brain. There are 4 steps in this set. In step 1, use through fire to touch points A and A. Point A on the back of the head is in the center of the neck at the base of the skull. Point A on the front of the head is at the center of the forehead where the forehead begins to curve to the crown. Step 2 is performed in crossfire with the fingers of each hand touching on opposite sides of the head. Hold at X, which is in the indentation beside the neck muscle at the base of the skull. It is the same as point 1 of the back set. On the opposite side of the head, touch points 1 through 5. Points 1, 2, and 3 are on the ridge line formed where the skull curves up toward the crown. Point 1 is above the outside corner of the eye on the ridge. Point 2 is above the front of the ear on the ridge. Point 3 is above the back of the ear on the ridge. To locate point 4, move down the head toward the base of the skull to a horizontal indentation approximately 1/3 of the way down from the top of the ear and 1 to 1.5 inches behind the back edge of the ear. Point 5 is opposite hold point X at the base of the skull. Point 5 now becomes the new hold point as points 1 through 5 are touched on the opposite side of the head. In crossfire, touch point 1 above the outside corner of the eye on the ridge, point 2 above the front of the ear on the ridge, point 3 is above the back of the ear on the ridge, point 4 is a horizontal indentation approximately 1/3 of the way down from the top of the ear and 1 to 1.5 inches behind the back edge of the ear, and point 5 is opposite hold point X at the base of the skull. Step 3 is performed in matching fire, touching points 1 and 1, 2 and 2, 3 and 3, 4 and 4, 5 and 5. Finally, in step 4, place the open palms of both hands on the head covering points 1 through 3. Be careful, don't let your hands touch each other.
Okay. And the last set that we're going to teach tonight is called the metabolism. This is just an amazing set of points that you can use for everything. Basically, it helps the body to assimilate what it wants and needs and just eliminate what it does not. And that includes so many things that can go on with the body. So this is a very, very good set, for arthritis, fibro, all of those things that Fran was talking about tonight. This set can really address all of those. So let's go ahead and watch this, the video of the metabolism.
The metabolism set can be used to help the body assimilate what it needs and eliminate what it doesn't need. The metabolism set has 2 steps. Step 1 involves touching points in matching fire along the large muscles on the front of the neck. Points 1 and 1 are located above the collarbone in the soft indentations on both sides of the notch at the top of the breastbone. Points 2 and 2 are halfway up the neck on the front of the large muscles. Points 3 and 3 are at the top of the neck on the front of the large muscles. The second step involves holding a point on the front of the body and touching points next to the spine on the back. Hold point X on the front of the body is on a line directly between where the nipples would be on a youth and is 1 to 2 inches to the left of the breastbone. Another way to find X is 1/3 of the way up the breastbone from greeting point 1 and 1 to 2 inches to the left of the breastbone. The points on the back are located next to the spine, forming a rectangle around the breakover point. The breakover point is where the bottom of the rib cage joins the spine and can be found by imagining a line directly through the body from greeting point 1. To perform step 2, find hold point X on the front of the body and touch points 1 through 4 on the back. Point 1 is approximately 1 to 2 inches up from the breakover point on the left spine muscle. Point 2 is directly across from point 1 on the right spine muscle. Point 3 is 2 to 3 inches below the breakover point on the right spine muscle. Point 4 is used to address blood sugar problems and is added to the other metabolism points when needed. It is located across from point 3 on the left spine muscle.
There you go. Doesn't get much simpler. So what's interesting about that metabolism set, especially that fourth point when she talked about sugar, metabolism will really help you as you try to change your diet without the
Right.
conflict. That's one of the main things she talked about. We don't want conflict. So if you're looking to change your diet, add that metabolism set, especially that fourth point. It will help you assimilate that sugar if you have diabetes or hypoglycemia, and maybe get that craving. Actually, it's funny. We worked with a woman once who used to have sugar cravings, and she would sweat thinking about chocolate being at her house. And it wasn't after a few months of getting BioTouch that craving went away. She never, and really lost like 100 pounds or something in that
Wow.
first year. Yeah, it was
Wow.
without the conflict of having to change a diet. And I think that's what BioTouch can help us do, is not have the conflict of making
Boy.
changes.
I agree. It's so non-invasive, isn't it?
Yeah,
And as Fran was saying, listen to our bodies. This
yeah,
is why BioTouch is so powerful. It's talk, it's a language, it's a body language.
yeah.
It talks to the body. And then through that self-awareness, we can change things.
And the other thing we want to make clear to you is, you don't have to do all of this.
No.
Even if you just do the greeting with someone and just touch locally, let's say you have fibromyalgia or arthritic hands, you can just locally touch 2 fingers of each hand right around the pain joint. So just doing the greeting and local work can be a benefit. And then one of the big ones is the whole anger, resentment, forgiveness factor.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'll tell you, if you're in an anger with somebody in a relationship and you have them do the greeting on you or you do the greeting on them, it's incredible how many times we've heard that it just goes away. The anger goes away and forgiveness floods in. It's very difficult to forgive when you're angry.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
But
It's a fact.
yeah, but to be able to do something that helps it disperse itself, again,
Yeah.
no conflict. That's the key, and that's what we love about BioTouch. There's no conflict in it. You don't have to know anything. You just have to be a human being. That's the
That's
beauty
it.
of BioTouch.
That's it. That's all that's required.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we do these every month, and we are glad you joined us for this one on body image and pain and stress. So join us next month for another great workshop. Thank you, Bev. That was wonderful
Well,
teaching again. And thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Fran, for
thank you, Fran.
giving us some great insights.
Yep.
We will see you all next month. Thank you all.